Good evening. Man, what a great crowd. Our first Sunday night concert in a long time. Doesn't it feel good to get back out? Doesn't it? And it feels good to see some of your faces from here down. Some of you can go ahead and just put it back. So you know who you are. So if you're visiting from another church, we're glad you're here tonight. And if you're watching online, we welcome you. Thank you for tuning in. And we hope that this is a blessing to you. I've gotten to hear the concert yesterday in rehearsal, and you are in for a wonderful treat. Last year, we had about 5 concerts scheduled, and because of COVID, we had to cancel everything. And so we've been busy trying to put things back together. And tonight, we thought, well, let's see what kind of crowd will come out. Let me just tell you what's going to be coming up. In August, we have the Liberty Quartet. In September, Legacy 5 with Scott Fowler, used to be with the Cathedrals. Then in November, Greater Vision with Gerald Wolfe, used to be with the Cathedrals. And then Sunday, December 12th, Ernie Haas and Signature Sound for their Christmas concert. And so if you're not on our mailing list, at the end, we won't be passing the plates, but there are boxes all around at every exit. Put your email on a piece of paper and drop it in there, and we will put you on the mailing list, not the entire church mailing list. We'll put you on the concert list so you can get emails so you'll know the dates of the upcoming concerts. We'd love for you to be a part of that. You were in for a treat this evening, and I want to do something before I introduce the group. You're going to get to hear them all night, but I want them to hear you sing a cappella before they play, okay? So let's stand up. And you all just listen to us, okay? Here we go. Praise God from whom all blessings flow. Praise Him, all creatures here below. Praise Him, all of the heavenly hosts. Praise Father, Son, and Holy Ghost. Are they good? Thank you all. You may be seated. Well, Ron McClellan, stand up. We need to say thank you to Ron. He's rehearsed this group, put the group together, and made everything happen tonight. So Ron, thank you so much. And band, thank you. We are blessed to have you all do this, and we are blessed to be here tonight. And I'd like to take an opportunity now to introduce Jerry Nelson. If you weren't here this morning, we have known each other for 45 years. The first time I met him was in a recording studio, and he walked in with a broken finger, and he was going to play the session. And I had never heard him play before. And I found out with 9 fingers, he could play more notes than most people with 10 fingers. And it has been a joy to work with Jerry, not just because of his musical ability, but because of his love for people, his love for the Lord, and his love for good music. And so when we started talking about doing this, I said, Jerry, not only do you play the piano, you arrange so well. It would be so much fun for a band to get to play your arrangements with you. And so we're going to get to do that tonight. And so I'm just going to turn it over to him. Would you help me welcome Dr. Jerry Nelson? So good to have you, brother.
Well, it's a delight to be here tonight and to see you all. And I see most of you unmasked, and that's great. I've been to my church a few times, and it seems like people haven't changed at all, even though we've been on the road for 10 years. At least from here to here, they haven't changed. Below that, you don't know. Michael, I forgot about that broken finger thing. I really did that. I do remember breaking my finger. We were doing a television shoot up at, Red Rocks outside of Denver. And it was an all-day thing. And we got to play in a little football. And I think I ran up in the air to try and grab a pass, and that's all it took. But since it was a finger-synced job that day, it wasn't a big deal. But I've known, as Michael's indicated, we've known each other for 45 years, and we're on the staff together for, 14, 15 years, something like that. And it's been a delight. He's a guy that's probably been more in demand in our church than any other person when it comes to music. Anybody be able to get a hold of him and get him on their staff, I mean, they've won the jackpot. But God has blessed him. Yes. The thing is, he puts it all together in one person. I'm jealous. It's not fair. But he's got the talent. He's got the voice. Most of all, he's got the Spirit. It's the Spirit of Jesus. So it's a delight to make music, and I'm glad that he invited us to come and work with the big band. And I said, I will do that on the condition that you can do some of those sugar sticks that we did 35 years ago with Bridge. So that's what we're doing tonight. And I'm going to invite you, well, I've already heard you sing a cappella. I'm going to give you a chance to just sing Fanny Crosby's favorite of 8,000 or 9,000 songs she wrote, Blessed Assurance. I got to get it in the right key. Okay, we'll put it in all white, okay? Blessed Assurance. Jesus is mine. Let's sing it from our hearts. Blessed assurance, Jesus is mine. What a fortress just washed in his blood. This is my story. This is my song. Praising my Savior. Blessed Assurance, that one's worth doing twice. What a great song. And it's served us all so well over the years. We're going to now do another hymn. I just thought I'd tell you one thing about it. Do you know the name Dave Brubeck? That goes back several decades. Dave Brubeck, a great jazz pianist, but Take 5 is probably the most famous thing he wrote. And jazz is usually in 3 or in 4, but he decided to write in 5 beats per measure. I got to listen to Brubeck, and this is the arrangement of This Is My Father's World that I ended up with. So if you think we're getting off the track, no, we've got a little dancing around between 5/4 meter and 4/4 meter. Here comes This Is My Father's World. This is one of those sugar sticks I was talking about. So you got to do I'm Dwelling on the Mountain when we get to Kansas City.
I am dwelling on the mountain where the glory exceeds my fondest dreams. Tell me not of heavy crosses or the burdens and the tears, for I found this great salvation makes those burdens light appear. Oh, how sweetly Jesus whispers, take your cross, you need not fear, for I've trod this way before you, and my presence lingers near. Now I am drinking at the fountain where I ever would abide, for I have tasted of life's pure river, and now my soul is satisfied. There's no thirsting for life's treasures. I can see a brighter day, for I found a richer treasure, one that fadeth not away. Yes, I am drinking at the fountain where I ever would abide, for I have tasted of life's pure river, and now my soul is satisfied. I'm so glad that I've tasted of life's pure river, and now my soul is satisfied.
You know that song? He never sleeps. He never slumbers. He watches over me day and night. I think of Psalm 139. It happens to be my favorite. But he knows everything I'm going to say before I say it. If I'm going to stand, if I'm going to sit, if I take the winds to the farthest ocean, he's there. He's every place. He never sleeps. He never slumbers. I was relating a story just a couple days ago to Michael. We used to do some recording in Tel Aviv and did a number of sessions there. And every time we went over there, after the work was done, we get a little rental car and run around the country, the most sacred soil in all of the world, in the Holy Land. And we'd always end up beside a little hotel, just kind of a tradition, beside the Sea of Galilee on the west side, before we head for the airport the next morning. And then we would go north from that hotel through the town of Nazareth and then down to Tel Aviv. And we got to that same stop sign, the parking lot of the hotel. And I said to the fellow who was with me, and it wasn't like God's audible voice or anything like that, but I just had this hunch that we ought to take a different route. And I said, maybe we'll see some scenery you haven't seen before. So we took a right instead of a left coming out of that parking lot. And we headed south along the Sea of Galilee and then on into Tel Aviv. And there were gunners at all corners. It just felt very eerie when we arrived there at the airport. And I went through 2.5 hours of interrogation before I finally got on the plane. Everyone else was already in the plane and they're still asking me questions. And I was never so glad to get on a plane in my life. They didn't look very friendly when they looked at me. But we went through Rome on the way home and we picked up an English reading newspaper. And on the cover, the front cover, was a map of Israel. I thought, that's interesting. We were just there yesterday morning. We looked at it closer and pinpointed a spot along that route that we normally would take from Galilee to Nazareth. And that morning at 9:15, about the time that we were on the southern route, insurgents had come down out of Lebanon and they ambushed every car that came along that highway. And then they gunned everybody down. 75 or 80 people were slaughtered along that highway that we normally would have been taking at that time. He never sleeps. Have you had things like that happen to you? They're worth writing down. Put them in a journal. Those are the kind of things you don't want to forget. We're going to do a Ralph Carmichael piece now. If I learned anything about jazz, I learned it from Ralph Carmichael, the greatest big band arranger that I know. And thankfully, he was a Christian big band arranger. And not all jazz is forte or double F. This one's called A Quiet Place. I'm just a poor, wayfaring stranger, and I need Jesus to walk with me. I'm just a poor, wayfaring stranger, just a traveling through this world of woe. But there's no sickness, no toil, no trouble in that bright world to which I go. I'm just a-going over Jordan. I'm just a-going. I'm going home. I need Jesus to walk with me. I need Jesus to walk and talk with me. All along this pilgrim journey, I need Jesus to walk with me. How many of you have ever been on a cruise? Raise your hands. Well, a pretty good number of you have. Cruises are fun. And Rachel and I were scheduled to host a cruise last year. Well, you know what happened to that cruise. None of the ships were floating. And so it was postponed into this year. And then this year it was postponed until next year. And so we're hoping the cruise is going to happen next year. But I thought it would be kind of fun to take you on a virtual cruise. And that's what we're going to do now. What it would be like to be on a cruise 100 years ago. You have a chance to experience that virtually. What a tragic scene. Probably the most famous of shipwrecks. But I got to thinking about the headline in that newspaper. The ship that not even God could sink. You think maybe God got a little angry when he saw that headline? I almost wonder if what happened after that was a bit prophetic, almost anticipated. And as I thought about and walked through, especially as I was writing this piece, walked through the entire events of Titanica, from its departure, the fun, the hilarity, then finally, the collision and what ensued. It's hard to imagine that there were people that were offered a free ride to safety, but they were more maybe in the middle of their rook game, in their nice, cozy, warm room. And I got to thinking, what was it like the first hour, hour and a half? They were still thinking, this ship is really unsinkable. But in the last hour, suddenly it became apparent when the angle of the ship was at about 15 degrees and the ocean water was splashing up on the deck, they realized this thing's going down. And what the builder of the ship said is right. It's good for about 2 hours, and they were down to the last hour. What would it be like to be in the last hour of your life? I got to thinking about the people on that ship. Based on percentages that we know of, about 1 in every 5 persons is an atheist. So what's an atheist thinking about that time? Well, apart from the fact that he left a family and the sorrow that goes along with that, the family being on a safe boat, he's thinking, well, you know what? It's really not a big deal. Because when it comes to the end, there is no tomorrow. Then you had the agnostics on the ship who really weren't sure. And then you had those like myself that have spent their life in hope and expectancy. Where would you be in that cluster of people? What a mission field. I'll tell you, I'd have been looking for folks that are frantic and desperate and asking questions, like you noticed on the video. Is heaven really for real? If it is, I don't have a chance. There isn't enough time. Isn't enough time? I'd tell them about the thief on the cross. He was down to 12 o'clock. And Jesus said, today, you can be with me in paradise. Yeah, but you have no idea what I've done. You don't know where I've been. I can't see where I'd have a chance. I'd tell him about the serial killer that God handpicked to kickstart the greatest denomination in all of history. 2.3 billion of us Christians. His name was Paul. Nothing you can do to earn it. Nothing that you've done that's so bad that you can't attain salvation. What an incredible gift of grace. And what a mission field. And for those who felt, there is no hope for me. And for anyone out here tonight, I'm not presuming when I do concerts anymore, and I've done over 1,000 concerts in the last 10 years. And I've come to the conclusion, especially when I read a quote by Billy Graham, quoting a Gallup poll that said, fewer than 35% of Christians have confidence that they have a place in heaven. Maybe they don't know that heaven is for real. I believe that firmly with all of my heart. You may know the name David Crowder. He's a contemporary writer. And he was invited to a party one time. This was the party of one of his friends, a close friend, who had ended up in prison because he had committed a bunch of crimes. But he was invited to this party. It was a homecoming party. When he would come home from prison, he had no idea that in that home that he had left 15 or 20 years ago were like 100 people, his friends, his neighbors, his acquaintances from school, his family, everybody was there. And when he walked through that door for the first time, the cheers, the congratulations, the laughter, the tears, the crying, all of that, it went on for like 10 minutes. It wouldn't stop. Crowder had written a song a little bit before that. And he noticed a little piano in the corner of the living room. He went over to the corner of the room and sat down to this little upright piano and began to sing this song. If you know it, and even if you don't know it, it's easy. Sing along with me. All my hope is in Jesus. Thank God my yesterday's gone. All my sins are forgiven. I've been washed by the blood. I'm no stranger to the prison. I've worn shackles and chains, but I'm set free, I'm forgiven. I ain't going back, I'll never be the same. Well, let's sing it with me. All my hope is in Jesus. Thank God my yesterday's gone. All my sins are forgiven. I've been washed by the blood. My yesterday's gone. Days are gone. All my sins are forgiven. I've been washed by the blood. I've been washed by His blood. We are not as those who have no hope. Aren't you glad for hope? Amen. One, two, three. Don't you weep for me when I'm gone, 'cause I won't have to leave here alone. And when I hear that last trumpet sound, my feet won't stay on the ground. I'm gonna rise with a shout, gonna fly. I'm gonna ride with my Lord through the sky. Heaven is near and I can't stay here. Goodbye, world, goodbye.
Okay, I'd like for you to do one more verse and just take it a little faster, if you could. You know, for me to get to stand up here between Jerry and Ron, Jerry has perfect pitch, and he can tell what note needs to be. And Ron, you could, I've never asked you could have perfect pitch. I know he has perfect timing. He was leading the band one time, and I was directing. He said, how fast do you want this to go? And I said, 120, and he started it. And I got my metronome out of my pocket, and I turned it on 120. He was there. So I'm standing in the midst of greatness tonight, and I just kind of hang on and do what they tell me to do. So Jerry has been traveling now for how many years? About 10, since you've left the staff ministry, about the past 11 years. And all the quartets that we had scheduled last year, they all stayed home last year. And so this is one of the first times Jerry has been back out on the road today. And this is the first concert that we have sponsored where I don't get to pass the plates. We're still not doing that yet. So as you leave tonight, there are wooden boxes at every door. We emptied everything out this morning, so everything that comes in tonight, you can write a check out to College Church. You can put cash in there. But we do want to bless Jerry and his ministry so he can go to the next place and bless them. So we want to be a part of his ministry. So if you would help us with that as we leave in a little while. And those boxes are by every door. And Jerry, are you going to tell us anything about your product table? Are you going to do that later?
I will do that after this.
Okay. And you'll want to be sure and stop by and say hello to him and see what you can take home with him. And the way we are able to do these concerts is by your support, and we really don't budget a lot of money to do these, but you all have been so faithful in giving to all these concerts, so we thank you. So choose which box you want to go to on your way out in 10, 15, 20 minutes whenever we leave. So we've got another song that I get to sing with you now.
Great.
So
another sugar stick.
Well, let's give it a try. I dreamed of a city called Glory, so bright and so fair. As I entered the gates, I cried, holy. The angels all met me there. They carried me from mansion to mansion. To see Jesus, He's the one who died for all. Then I bowed on my knees and cried, holy. I cried, holy, holy. I clapped my hands and sang glory, glory to the Son of to the Son of God. As I entered the gates of that
my loved ones all knew me well. They carried me down the streets of heaven. Oh, the scenes too many to tell. I saw Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, talked with Mark, Luke, and Timothy. Oh, but I said, Timothy, I want to see Jesus, 'cause he's the one who died for me. Oh, I bowed on my knees and cried, holy. I cried, holy. You are holy. Clap my hands and sing glory. Glory to the Son of God. Well, I sing glory to the Son of God.
Have you recorded that one, Michael?
What's that?
Have you ever recorded that one?
One time.
Oh, it's
With
probably
you-
on an
with you.
LP or a cassette, right?
It was on an 8-track. Yeah.
I was going to say, if you hadn't recorded, you ought to do it.
I have a 69 car, and so it has an 8-track, so I can, if you
Oh,
have
you
any,
could play it.
if you have
Yeah.
any in the warehouse, I could.
I'm trying to sell CDs now, and people with new cars can't play CDs. They want thumb drives. Time moves on, and I'll tell you, I've been thinking a lot about heaven these days, and when I see the direction of our nation and the things that are happening in our streets, in our cities, and the lawlessness, and when I first heard about sanctuary cities, I thought, are they building more churches or what? No, it had nothing to do with churches, just the opposite of that. My parents, who've been gone about 15 years now, would not recognize this nation today, right? It's going down the tube. But I look forward to the day when I'll see Jesus face to face. And it can't happen soon enough, and I have an idea. It's going to be real soon at the rate things are changing. I'm for it too. Well, let me tell you a little bit about some things that we have back there on the table. And if you can throw a shot on the screen of my CDs. We don't have any thumb drives as yet. Quiet Times, that's pure piano. If you like quiet hymns, it went over so well I had to do a trilogy of them. And they're at a special price if you want just those. How much? 75 of your favorite hymns for just $30. And we have a number of those back on the table. But if you can't make up your mind, if you want maybe hymns with big full orchestra, we got Christmas, we got And I try to make each one a uniquely different style. Touch of Celtic, if you like Celtic. Gospel, I got one that's just gospel. Jazz, if you like jazz. Volume 1 of jazz, it says. And there probably won't be a volume 2. But anyhow. Oh, and then there's Mountain Rhapsodies, which is Broadway and classical and things like that. So there's quite a variety of things. But tonight was among firsts. It's the first time that I've ever played Titanica. I hope it didn't sound like it was the first time I had played Titanica, but maybe it did. But another first. My church doesn't even know that I wrote a book. And as a matter of fact, well, the name of the book is Heaven Really for Real? And I've been keeping a journal of things that have happened in my life that I can only explain by God. They wouldn't have happened. The statistical probability is so off the charts. I have to say that was God. So I've been writing these down ever since I was 20 years old and in college. There's about 100 stories in my journal now. One of them, in fact, is the one I just told about Israel and the tragedy that we could have found ourselves in the middle of out on that highway. But, and then I included, have you heard the sermon by Dr. Jim Deal, where he was on a Colorado River rafting, and I mean, he ought to have been dead. How many have heard that story? A bunch of you have. If you haven't, you need to buy the book, because he wrote that chapter, and he should have been dead, but he was 12 minutes out in the middle of that thing, and the lady in red, who nobody had ever seen coming and never saw after that, pulled him out of the water. Just a skinny lady was walking along the road, saved his life. But that wasn't the only thing. There was a little 10-year-old boy that was also on their raft that overturned, and an angel rescued him. It was a double rescue. What an incredible chapter in the story. So I wrote 10 different stories out of my 100 or so that I have. And then that's the first half of the book. The second half of the book deals with the resurrection, messianic prophecy, because tell you the truth, most atheists have never read about messianic prophecy. And when they start looking at the numbers, they got to decide, maybe this is for real. But the book is called Is Heaven for Real? And there it is. It's on the screen. It's $14 for the book. Actually, it's $16 tonight. The launch special is $14, and we're launching a double-length CD of songs about heaven, and it includes things like I Bowed on My Knees and Cried Holy. I'm sorry I got there first, Michael. And if they had their choice, they'd want to hear you singing it. But My Savior, First of All, The Old Rugged Cross, Amazing Grace, and some of your favorites. It's a double-length CD, and after you're wondering, how about that Titanic? If you're interested in something of that sort, after more than an hour of hymns, we put Titanic on the tail end of that. And if you buy both, the price is $22. Buy them separately, it's about $30. I forget the exact price. Oh, I got to tell you one other thing about it. Once you've bought the book and the CD, we decided, a lot of you folks have you got someone in your family that's lost a job, they're in depression. You may know somebody that's about to commit suicide. You know somebody that's in hospice, and they could use a book like this. If you decide, after buying your own combination set, if you decide that you want to buy a book for a friend who's in trouble, we decided that we will give the CD. We call it Gift a Book, and we'll gift the CD. And you say, well, how long is this good? Till Jesus comes. There's no deadline on this. Well, how many can I get? There's no maximum on that. If you decide at Christmas time, I think I want to give 10 of those books away, you get 10 free CDs to go along with it. And that's called Gift-a-Book. Because Rachel and I decided we wanted to partner with you in reaching people that are desperate and want to give up on life. So we brought as many as the 50-pound limit would handle in my suitcase. So we have some of those back there.
Jerry, I didn't tell the folks that are watching online, if you'd like to give to the offering tonight, go to the church website. There's a give button at the top, and when you press that, then the place to give will come up, and over to the right-hand side, it asks what fund you want to give to. Press on that and hit Other, and Jerry Nelson will pop up, and that money will go directly to him if you're watching online and would like to give to that tonight.
And if you're interested in buying any of the product I've been mentioning, just go to jerrynelsonmusic.com. That's our website, and you can purchase the things that I just talked about now. Well, there's one sugar stick left. And Denise, you're going to join us on this one. I'm sure glad that you're on the program tonight. And it's nice to have you singing along with Michael. I've always enjoyed your duets for the 15 years or so that you were on the staff. We had them singing just about every Sunday. So, you know the song, Higher Ground? My aim, my prayer is higher ground.
My heart has no desire to stay where doubts arise and fears dismay, though some may dwell where ease abound. My prayer, my aim is higher ground. I want to scale the utmost high
enjoyed Jerry Nelson tonight. Ron McClellan, the big band. Stand up, guys. Thank you so much. Wonderful. Thank you. Thanks for all your work.
Thank you, Ron. Thank you.
Wonderful job. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Jerry, if you go out to the table, people can meet you. And if you don't have a church home, we do this every Sunday morning, 9 o'clock. We'd love to have. We don't have Jerry in the big band, but we have a choir and an orchestra. And if you have your own church, please go there. If you want to be on our mailing list, see the wooden boxes at every door. Put your email on there. We'll make sure you get on there. We would love to send you information about the 4 or 5 concerts we have coming up from now till December. Let's stand together. I would have us sing Happy Trails to You at the end, but I can't remember all the words. So you just go humming it on your way tonight. Thank you for coming. God bless you. Have a wonderful, wonderful week. Stop by and see Jerry at the table.